Oh man, 5 minutes to go. The most important moment in your career is coming. You're sweating buckets in that tux, but it's too late to change now. You're at an international technology conference along with the world's most famous scientists, engineers, programmers, economists, and a whole bunch of other important people. Artificial intelligence developers have made a discovery that could change the world forever. And in 4 minutes, there will be a public demonstration of this world-changing revelation. You're here as a translator. You need to translate all this science-y stuff into several languages. You've loved learning languages your whole life. First, it was foreign films and TV series with subtitles, books, comics. Then you started to study more seriously. Your parents took you all over the world to absorb different world cultures. And when you found out there are about 7,000 languages on our planet, you decided to spend your life learning them. Well, some of them. Prestigious universities, postgrads, living in different countries, studying the history of ancient languages. All this made you the best translator and language expert in the world. And now you're a little nervous, as you have to translate the conference into 7 different languages. The event begins. Scientists start to talk about the evolution of AI. No, it's not going to take over the planet. On the contrary, it's going to make people's lives easier. You have a bad feeling about this for some reason. The main developer leaks the big news. A new language has been created for the whole world to use. The language is simple to learn. The AI translation algorithm makes it easy to remember words, grammar. Basically, there will be no more communication problems anymore. To make learning it even easier, scientists have created an app that can translate any kind of speech into the new language. Context, meaning, sarcasm, irony, it can now all be translated into UCL, Universal Common Language. The world's population will be united like never before. That's when you realize that the biggest moment of your career is also the beginning of its destruction. Who's going to need a translator if everybody speaks the same language? Oh, goody. Over the next 20 years, the planet moves to speaking the common language. Every gadget has the UCL app. The language is taught in schools and institutes. Big companies and corporations introduce mandatory language courses for their employees. AI translates thousands of books a day into UCL. In movies and TV, only actors who speak UCL get the big awards. People who just couldn't learn a foreign language before have no problem with UCL. The learning process is easy and fun. Plus, it's a requirement for literally everything. So, countries start canceling their visa programs. Borders start getting erased. All over the world, the number of conflicts is decreasing because now people can understand each other much better. Operating systems, video games, tech articles, songs, jokes, science stuff, you name it, are all created in the New World language. You can call anyone on the other side of the planet, tell them something, and listen to their interesting stories. You can go on a trip around the world and not be afraid you'll accidentally order 17 squirrels for breakfast because you mixed up one little word. Movie companies stop dubbing movies, and no more subtitles. Woohoo! The world has become more open. Air ticket prices are way down, and tourism and studying and working abroad is booming. Every year, more and more people renounce their citizenship and recognize themselves as citizens of the world. Science is developing faster than ever before because scientists from all over the world can finally work together. And studying foreign languages, a thing of the past. Okay, it seems like the world's become a better place, but UCL also has a dark side. Translators and language professors lose their jobs. Language schools get closed around the planet. Those dubbing actors also lose their jobs. You and many other people are opposed to the new language. You said about trying to prove that, sooner or later, UCL will cause a catastrophe. While the whole world communicates in the new language, scientists finished their first multi-country study of the human mind. The number of neural connections, so the thoughts and biological processes in the brain, have decreased. Scientists studied hundreds of thousands of people in 3 groups: multi-language speakers, one-language speakers, and those who were born in the New World and only speak UCL. Studies show that the human brains stopped functioning as it did before. People used to try to understand foreign languages, speak them, and translate them, training their minds. Now, the parts of the brain that are responsible for this have stopped working. Even if you'd never learned a foreign language, you still used to see and hear words that you didn't understand, and your brain at least tried to process the information. Now, our brains are relaxed. Some say, if there are no other languages, what difference does it make? Who cares about a relaxed brain? But that's not the end of it. The human brain has become worse at analyzing information, remembering, and finding clever ways out of difficult situations. It's hard for people to learn new knowledge. People's vocabulary ends up becoming smaller and smaller. Sometimes, people can't even say what's on their mind. The average IQ begins to dip. Learning the languages of the past is becoming almost impossible. Some are worried about the future. People may forget their history. Changes in the human brain are one thing, but forgetting our history could be really dangerous. Every language is linked to its geography and history. But most importantly, language brings cultural diversity into your daily life. For example, there are many more words to describe the cold in cold countries, more shades of green in tropical countries. You get the picture. With UCL, these little things that make cultures different just sort of vanish. Most people now like the same music, watch the same movies. People start to lose interest in everything. Imagine you saved up money for 6 months to fly to the other side of the world. You arrive there, and everyone talks and acts just like your neighbors back home. They even watch the same shows and follow the same influencers as you. From now on, you'll never be able to determine where a person grew up by their accent. People talk with the same intonation, use the same sentence structure and words. Communication becomes boring. To better express your emotions, you use gestures and body language. Two people arguing starts to look a lot like two crazy people, quivering, twitching, waving. But the worst thing is that people start to lose their sense of humor. Because there's less vocabulary, there's less thought. It's getting hard to think, let alone talk. Dreams get super boring, and poetry and song lyrics all start to sound the same. Yeah, life's become much easier, but so what? We can easily understand each other, but at the same time, we've forgotten how exciting it can be to learn something new. AI keeps trying to simplify UCL, and every year it gets easier and easier. Scientists have found that, at this rate, people will communicate using only sounds in a few decades. Nobody will be able to clearly express their thoughts or explain their actions. The global understanding everyone has is soon going to change to epic misunderstanding. People will simply forget how to communicate their thoughts. You've had a rough time since you lost your job as a translator. You've spent nearly every waking moment trying to prove that languages are necessary. Fortunately, you and other translators and professors make it happen. People will never stop using UCL, but interest in learning old languages reappears. Learning an old language becomes the hot new thing. There are more language schools than ever before. There are only a few people left on the planet who still remember multiple old languages. You and other translators get rich. Learning languages is now the most popular hobby, which perfectly develops your mental abilities. If it used to be cool to have an expensive car, a stacked bank account, and a beautiful house, now the ability to speak 2 languages is considered a sign of success. Film companies are making movies, writers are writing books, artists are creating songs, all in different languages again. The world goes back to being diverse, interesting, and fun. Merci beaucoup.